My buddy dropped by and gave me these googly eye glasses. Science! I need to make like a 2-second meme out of this. Science! I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help it. I might edit that out of this video. No, I won't. Sorry about that. Pseudoscience. Oh, God. Pseudoscience. It's an old saying that said, they'll accuse you of doing the very thing that they themselves are doing. This happens far more frequently than it should, unfortunately. I've read every comment that I have since the beginning, which has been years. I've been debating various topics that I know, metaphysics, theurgy, so-called science. Yep. And I'll see on other websites and I'll read comments or emails from people and they'll talk about me discussing pseudoscience. Yeah. I am hyper-rational and logical. I'll give you their pseudoscience. By the way, when they make these statements, it's kind of like a little kid that will hit you in the back of the neck with a spitball and they'll run. I don't think kids do that anymore. You know, they run away. It's like doing a drive-by. You know what a drive-by is? Like they drive by and you know, in the movies, a drive-by. You know, they don't stay around. They can't debate anything. They can't discuss anything. They can't engage the dialectic. Anytime somebody make a claim about anything that I've said, show me the evidence. And if you can't present the evidence, at least provide the logic that gives some sort of credence to your rebuttal. The rebuttal is just like, yeah, you're talking about pseudoscience. We all know that relativity and quantum theory is well established, blah, 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 blah. This is an appeal to authority, which, by the way, is a fallacy. They have nothing. They never, ever once, all of these years of reading comments and emails, they never, ever, even once, nobody has, given any evidences or logic for the nonsense that they accuse me of. Yet they themselves will, people for a couple of years there thought I was like blowing smoke and talking about pseudoscience using the word dielectricity. Yeah. I said, well, excuse me, you know, the greats of field theory vis-a-vis Tesla, Steinmetz, Heaviside, James Clerk Maxwell, these people, the greats of field theory, have been talking about it for, you know, how on earth did you think me using this word? Well, I don't know what dielectricity is. It sounds like a pseudoscience made-up word that you made up. I don't know if you know this or not, but all of quantum, not my position, theirs, all of quantum and all of relativity hinges upon what they understand light, space, and time to be. All of it. Yet everything they understand about light, space, and time is absolutely incorrect. The 7 suppositions that they have about light are fallacious, wrong, illogical, and not supported from evidences of the phenomena of light. These are the very people that have never defined the term field, energy, gravity. At least they admit they don't know what gravity is. That's the one thing they admit. Polarity, magnetism, and they have no idea what light is. How? I'll give you pseudoscience. I'll talk about a few things here that they believe in. Bending space. Space has no properties. That's one thing Nikola Tesla rails against over and over again, the idea that space has properties that can be bent. They talk about bending space. All of relativity and all of quantum is based upon one aspect thereof, of bending space, which cannot happen. It's like talking about bending a shadow. A shadow's not a thing. Shadow's an absence of light. Virtual photons. They will tell you, these people themselves, that are accusing me of pseudoscience. It's okay, it's a pair of digital calipers fell on the floor. They will engage in something that's never been the input or output of any experiment ever done, has no basis in reality, no evidence for it, no logic behind it. It's completely irrational. Virtual photons. They will tell you that a magnet is emitting virtual photons. This is not my words, these are theirs. This is pseudoscience, what they're espousing. Same is true of electrons. Sure, about electrons, movement of charges, electrons. No, Tesla, the great experts of field theory, there's no such thing as an electron. The discoverer of the principle of same J.J. Thomson said electron, principle of, is 1 unit of dielectric induction. Yep. No such thing as a negative charge. That would be a discharge. That's completely ridiculous. They reify things that have no basis in fact or reality. Waves, force, and lines. They love to talk about waves and forces and lines. Lines of force. There's no such thing as a wave. A wave is not what something is, rather what something does. Lines of what? This is a descriptor of observed phenomena of constructive and destructive interference of a field, a region of influence, and the field of that region of influence, but they never defined a field. Never have. I tell you what a field is. A field is just any other perturbation modality. They talk about dualities in nature. Both quantum and relativity loves talking about dualities. There are no dualities in nature. Only misunderstandings by stupid, unintelligent people. Nature cannot have, by meaning and connotation, inherent contradiction, any dualities. There are no dualities in nature. They talk about the speed of light, which is not a speed because light's not an emission, a wave, a particle, a duality, the concept of a photon. I know where they get it from. There's no such thing as a photon particle. The natural phenomena are unconnected to the nonsense pseudo-explanations which are an affront to common sense and logic. People say, well, how is something so useful vis-a-vis quantum and relativity? Be nonsense. Well, the descriptors of phenomena in nature have no connection to the explanations because descriptions are not explanations. And this is what the folks of quantum and relativity will point out. Well, it's so useful. The equations are repeatable. You can make an equation about anything and have it be repeatable ad infinitum, but that has no connection to your explanation that you're making about what's going on in the case of the phenomena of nature. People will say, and I hear this a million times, they'll ask about the dual slit experiment. I say, well, let's talk about the dual slit experiment. You can't do an experiment on something that you both don't understand and don't know and have complete misappropriation thereof. Dual slit experiment is about light. Light's not a wave, particle, duality, wave, particle, duality, photon. You can't do an experiment using a phenomena as the primary source in the dual slit experiment without understanding what that phenomena is, i.e. light. They don't. They say, what about an electron microscope? They work. Yes, they do. I had the chance to buy a couple electron microscopes, really old ones, before. So you want to know what an electron microscope is? It's a dielectric reflectance imaging device. Non-metallic stuff gets coated in a gold sputter chamber. It's a dielectric reflectance imaging device. You could call it an electrostatic reflectance imaging device. An electron microscope should be called a DRI, dielectric reflectance imager. People will say, what about a quantum computer? Well, I can call my microwave a quantum heating device, but that doesn't give reification of the term quantum. Quantum computer, and I know plenty about quantum computers, more than a typical person does, a lot more than a typical person, is a charge polarity variance of a binary computer. What about quantum computing? Oh, you mean a charge polarity variance? Actually, it should be called a bean counter, just as any computer is a bean counter or binary, except the difference here is that it's a charge polarity variance bean counter. Computer, bean counter of binary. Quantum computer, which doesn't reify the term quantum. Well, quantum computers exist, therefore quantum is real. Well, that's a fallacy, and it's illogical, because I've heard that like a million times. Well, of course quantum exists, because quantum computers exist, and therefore you're full of it. That thing you're calling a quantum computer exists, but that doesn't reify the term quantum. It's a bean counter with the variation that it's a charge polarity variance bean counter. The questions that have to be asked of these people, relativity and quantum, which, once again, all of relativity and quantum is based upon their understanding of light, space, and time. Time is not a thing. It doesn't exist. Time is a measure of magnitudes. A measure is not a thing. They actually think time is something real. Not real as in phenomenal, but they do still nevertheless think time is real. They think that you can bend and warp space, and that's not true at all. Nikola Tesla, that's the only time Nikola Tesla foams at the mouth at the idea that you can bend space. So this is completely ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. We have to ask of these people, does the center hold? The answer is no. We have to ask, is it rational and logical? And it's not. It's irrational and illogical. Is it simplex or complex? It's highly complex. It's also too fantastical, meaning science fiction, basically. And it's no wonder that science fiction is based upon a lot of the jargon and nonsense and poppycock twaddle and phooey of quantum and relativity. All of it basically is. Captain, we've engaged the quantum we've engaged the quantum paradox drive. We're now going to enter into slipstream quantum. It makes for great movies. Mother Nature is really simple. These people have complicated the hell out of nature, which is ridiculous, illogical, and it's so irrational. It's beyond belief. This is what Tesla meant when he said, today's scientists think deeply rather than clearly. You have to be able to think deeply and to be sane. And he sees these people are quite insane. This is Walter Russell quote, "Nothing is more fantastical and a travesty of how nature works than is quantum theory. Its very basis has no relationship to reality." Very, very accurate there. Let me give you just a couple quotes. This is the priest figurehead of quantum, Leonard Susskind. He's Professor, PhD of Theoretical Physics. Yeah, priest, i.e. PhD of Theoretical Physics. Yeah. This is his words, not mine. "When common sense and intuition fail, i.e. nature, we had to create a new form of intuition based upon abstract, i.e. unreal, mathematics." See, it's not science, it's mathematics. "When common sense fails, i.e. logic and what is rational, what is natural. When common sense fails, we must create uncommon sense." Wait a minute, when I'm reading this, I gotta put on my googly eyes, yeah. It's kind of hard to read with these on. Niels Bohr. There we go, Niels Bohr. "Everything we call real is made up of things that cannot be real." Oh, there we go. Sorry, it's too funny. Here's Richard Feynman. "The more you see how strange nature behaves, the harder is it for us to make a model that explains how the most simple phenomena work. Theoretical physics has given up on this pursuit." I'm a PhD of theoretical physics. What I say is word. I'm sorry, I think these googly eyes are pretty funny. Nature is rational, simple, logical. It can't be dualistic, implying inherent contradiction. It has to be simple, rational, the center has to hold, and it must be simplex. It cannot be complex. You want to talk about pseudoscience? Everything I just told you from these folks is pseudoscience. The idea of, Mother Nature has just got a crazy chick with a bag of magic bumping particles, negative charges, reification of concepts like waves and force. Ridiculous. Force of what, by what, and upon what. Irrational, illogical, the center doesn't hold. The idea that, once again, please God, understand what I'm telling you here. Everything that they believe and tell you is true is based upon their ideas of what the explanation of light, space, and time are. And they have no idea what light, space, and time are. They've never defined the term field, energy, gravity, polarity, magnetism. They've never defined light. Everything they think they understand about light, wave particle duality, photon, that it has a speed, that light's an emission, all of those things are 100% untrue. Light is not a speed, it's not emission. It's a rate of induction or the hysteresis of the ether. Yeah? It's not a wave. A wave of what? Light's a wave! This is Einstein's quote, I'm paraphrasing here. We did not understand light, sometimes it acted like a wave, sometimes it acts like a particle. We couldn't explain it, so we... Oh, God. But, together the wave-particle duality of light explains it. You're just going to say, there's just no way, like a super advanced alien race would do anything but laugh at us. These stupid human beings think that light is a duality of, sometimes it's a wave, sometimes it's a particle. That's quantum! By the way, that is quantum. Quantum is based upon the wave-particle duality of light. It's when you when it does this and it interacts, it's like a wave. When it interacts like this, it interacts like a particle. A wave of what? Energy. You never defined energy. Well, it's a field. You never defined field. Oh, shut up. Where's your PhD? Here's my PhD right on the wall there. Oh. You tell me what the real pseudoscience is. I am logical, consistent, rational. I will tell you nature is simple, not complex. It is rational and logical. Everything I tell you, the center holds. The center always holds in everything I say about nature. Every time it does. I know what a field is. I know what magnetism is. I know what electricity is. I know what light is. I know what space and time are. These people don't. And that's not my opinion or feeling or belief. That's fact. They will tell you that quantum is irrational. I mean, this is a PhD guy, Susskind, said, irrationality won't explain nature, so we had to create irrationality, which perfectly explains quantum. He's like, that's not regular science, it's quantum, and quantum is irrational. And that's why it's real, because the irrationality works. There we go. See my PhD? It's right there on the wall. Don't talk back to me, boy. That's pseudoscience. That's real pseudoscience. None of these people that have accused that of me have ever debated me. They've never offered any proof or evidences or logic. They got nothing. They just do a drive-by. Do a drive-by on me. Nothing they think, feel, or believe supports their irrational positions. Nor does quantum a reflection of nature. Mother Nature is that hairy armpit chick with a hemp skirt and muddy feet. She does not have a calculator. She does not have a PhD. She only understands force of motion, inertia, and acceleration. Everything is either centrifugal divergence or centripetal convergence. Everything is either capacitance, resistance, permeability, and permittivity, which is no more complicated than saying everything is pressure mediation. This is logical, this is simplex, this is rational, and the center holds. Thank you very much. If you like these videos, my email's in the link below in the description. Also, too, any donations always warmly welcome. But if you want to have a debate with me about it, provide evidence as facts or logic, because there isn't any. I've been waiting for years for somebody to present some, and they never do because they don't have anything. Yeah. Thank you. Lux Veritas.